are on these technologies, including the two facial recognition programs that you just said. So Clearview AI is a private facial recognition company that has been working with the Department of Homeland Security for years. Largely, it's been working with the part of the Department of Homeland Security that has historically gone after very targeted raids, things like looking for child sex trafficking rings, artifacts that get stolen and circulated on black markets in the United States. They're the part of the Department of Homeland Security that's really been well funded for a long time with technology like this. Last year, when Trump came in and they sort of decided that these immigration quotas were part of their goal as an administration, they really sent a ton of cash over to the part of the Department of Homeland Security, ICE as we now know it, which does these kind of big raids. And they needed to be able to build a different kind of facial recognition technology for them that was really easily used by ICE agents in the field. And that's when Mobile Fortify gets introduced. It comes from CPB, it gets transferred over to ICE, and suddenly there's this tool that they can use on a cell phone that you need zero technical background to be able to use it. It's like a very plug and play sort of app. And we don't yet know what the database of images is that went into Mobile Fortify, but some of the people I've spoken to have said that, we think that they pretty much could have put in anyone's photo that ever went through passport control or ever had their photo taken.
Basically all of us.
Yeah, right. Anyone who's crossed a border, which would include, people who have crossed the border with documents and people who have perhaps crossed undocumented. And so there's a sense of we don't know what the database is. We just know that it's an app that they can have on their phones that's really, really easy to use. And they seem to be using it on both people who seem to be Americans here with their documentation and people who they're looking for.
And so they're just scanning your face with the cell phone camera, and then that's being linked to potentially other data that they have collected?
Yeah, they would scan your face and then it could come up as a match or not. But again, something I'd note here is that these apps are historically bad on people that are not, white. They're historically bad on people that come from countries that are underrepresented on the internet, where there isn't as much of a wealth of data on what these people's faces look like. And some of these images could have been taken from border surveillance cameras 20 years ago or CCTV footage. It's unclear where the images are coming from. So we don't know. We don't know what their error rate is. We don't know how accurate they are. There's just so much we don't know.
Yeah. And I know with Clearview, these are, again, I think the important thing is also these are private companies. And they are relying on, I believe, largely, public data. I think Clearview has been estimated to have scraped 3 billion, or they've said 3 billion images from Facebook, YouTube, Venmo, elsewhere. And so we're basically talking about them trying to cross-reference what's out there and create these databases so that they could say, oh, this is Shira, and she's, an undocumented immigrant or a citizen, or we have a concern. Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I think that as Americans for a long time, we've known that facial recognition technology is out there. And, my colleague Kashmir Hill recently wrote a great book about this. But I would say that at some point, I think Americans kind of said, Target's going to scan my face and maybe they'll use that to make decisions on what type of laundry detergent they stock. And, the Gap, they want to make sure that I'm still coming in to buy jeans. I don't know. I'm making things up here, but
right. We've gotten really comfortable, and we, to be fair, are all carrying around these little cubes or squares, these iPhones and other smartphones that arguably we're almost allowing ourselves to be tracked in a lot of ways from a commercial.
We're uploading our own photos to social media. Many people have public accounts on Instagram and other places where they're offering up photos of themselves, their family members, etc.
But maybe didn't expect that to be used in a giant government database.
That's what matters here, is that there's a certain expectation of Americans that, that the government will be responsible about this, that they're going to be responsible about the technology and its use. And I think that's what's really surprising about what's happening over the last few weeks in Minneapolis.
We are talking about surveillance tools being used by federal agents with Shira Frankel. She's a technology reporter at the New York Times, and Rachel Levinson-Waldman, director of the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center for Justice. We want to hear from you. What questions do you have about the technology being used by ICE and Customs and Border Patrol? Do you think you've been surveilled or tracked by the federal government as you've exercised your First Amendment rights? You can email your comments and questions to forum@kqed.org. You can call us at 866-733-6786. Or you can go to social media, Discord, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. We are at KQED Forum. We'll be right back.